Okay, real talk. How many times have you heard somebody go, "You can't say that, that's against my First Amendment rights"? Maybe at a family dinner, maybe on Twitter, or maybe you've said it yourself. And here's the thing, most of the time, that person is completely wrong. Like embarrassingly, spectacularly wrong in a way that would make James Madison roll over in his grave. I'm not just talking about some minor technicality. I'm talking about deeply held beliefs that millions of Americans carry around every single day, beliefs that have absolutely zero legal backing. So today we're blowing up 5 of the biggest First Amendment myths in American history. And I promise, by the end, you're going to feel genuinely betrayed by your high school civics teacher. Oh, and myth number 3, about hate speech? That one is going to make your brain do a full backflip. Don't go anywhere. All right, let's go back to the beginning. The entire First Amendment is just 45 words. That's it. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble, and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Notice something huge there. The very first word after Congress shall make no law is Congress, not your boss, not your college professor, not the Reddit moderator. James Madison drafted this and introduced it to the House of Representatives on June 8, 1789. He wasn't writing a universal shield against all social consequences. He was writing a leash on government power specifically. Your private employer? Not the government. Facebook kicking you off? Not the government. A private university? Still not the government. The amendment is not a magical force field that follows you everywhere. Drop a comment right now. Did you actually know the First Amendment only applies to the government? Before today, yes or no? I read every single one. Okay, so here we go. Myth number 1. You can't yell fire in a crowded theater. You've heard this one 1,000 times, right? It's the most quoted First Amendment example in human history. It comes from a real Supreme Court case, Schenck versus United States, 1919, where Justice Oliver Wendell Holmes used it as a metaphor to justify jailing a man named Charles Schenck for handing out anti-draft pamphlets during World War I. But here's the thing nobody tells you. That ruling was gutted. 50 years later, Brandenburg versus Ohio, 1969, the Supreme Court said the government cannot punish speech unless it's directed at producing imminent, lawless action. We've been citing a legal zombie, a 100-year-old case that is no longer the controlling law. The phrase is still everywhere, and it's basically obsolete. Myth number 2. In 1984, a man named Gregory Lee Johnson burned an American flag outside Dallas City Hall during the Republican National Convention as a protest. He was arrested. Texas versus Johnson, 1989, 5-4. The Supreme Court said burning the American flag is protected expression under the First Amendment. 48 out of 50 states had laws against it. The court threw them all out in one ruling. Myth number 3, and this is the one that genuinely makes people's heads explode. Hate speech is not illegal in the United States. Full stop. There is no legal definition of hate speech under American law. In Snyder versus Phelps, 2011, the Supreme Court ruled 8-1 in favor of Westboro Baptist Church, people infamous for picketing military funerals, because their speech was on public concern expressed peacefully in a public space. Now here's where it gets historically insane. In 1798, just 7 years after the First Amendment was ratified, the same generation that wrote it passed the Alien and Sedition Acts. Under President John Adams, they made it a crime to write or say anything false, scandalous, and malicious about the government. James Madison himself was furious. He and Thomas Jefferson drafted the Virginia and Kentucky resolutions, arguing the acts were unconstitutional. The acts expired in 1801, but the fact this happened at all tells you something profound about human nature. The First Amendment does have real limits: defamation, true threats, incitement under the Brandenburg Standard, perjury, fraud, and fighting words. In 1965, 13-year-old Mary Beth Tinker wore a black armband to school in Des Moines to protest Vietnam. They suspended her. In 1969, the Supreme Court ruled 7-2 in her favor. And then the one that trips up everyone in the social media era. Private companies don't owe you a platform. Facebook, YouTube, TikTok. These are private companies. The First Amendment says nothing about Mark Zuckerberg. So let's recap. 45 words, written in 1789, ratified in 1791, betrayed in 1798 by its own creators, rescued, expanded, tested, twisted, argued over, and still standing. The First Amendment is not a get-out-of-consequences card. It's a government restraint. And understanding the difference, in an era when everyone is screaming about free speech, might be one of the most important things you can actually know. If this changed how you think about free speech even a little bit, hit like, subscribe for more deep dives, and drop a comment. What's the biggest First Amendment myth you believed before watching this? Next video, we're going even deeper. See you there.